Yeah, I had a good stream so far. I've played for 2 hours. I've pretty much solidified 5.6k with all my races. We're almost to 5.7, but yeah, we're doing good. It's actually funny. My random MMR is 5.4. It's almost like 300 MMR below my top. It's really strange.
My goodness.
So I don't know. It's strange. All right.
Here, let me message you my in-game thing. Are you on EU or NA?
Right now I'm on North America.
There we go.
See here. Let's give you a quick ad there. All right. Friend request sent.
A friend request. How about that?
Dude. All right, Mr. CaptCanuck. Is that how you pronounce Canuck? Is it Canuck?
Canuck. I don't.
We'll go with Canuck.
Like, sure. I feel like depending on which area of Canada you go to, it'll be slightly different.
Yeah.
Are you East Coast, West Coast?
I'm West Coast.
Hey, West Coast.
Yeah, it's West Coast, man. All right.
Ooh,
so
yeah.
how should we handle today? What do you think we should do?
All right. So, this is my vision of my short, medium, and long range goals.
All right.
My short-term goals are make sure that I have proper fundamentals, and if there are any that aren't correct, fix them.
Mm-hmm.
Mid-range goals are be learning builds, because that's the one. That's a major thing I've been lacking throughout my time in long range is promotion. We want to get to our one day Diamond 1, even Masters if we can reach that, but we're not going to get ahead of ourselves too soon.
But I'm taking a look at your profile. All right, I'm seeing a 3.7k MMR. That's respectable. Okay, you should feel good about that.
Woo.
All right, we can pump that up. I'm gonna get you to 4.2k. I'm feeling that by the end of the month. Does that sound reasonable to you?
Yes.
Let's do that.
Let's do it.
All right, let me see if there's anyone available. Would you like to do live custom games first?
Sure.
Let me see them. Do you have any friends online around your skill level by any chance? Because I don't really have anyone.
We've got Xenodactyl and Potato Pleb. Let me just message.
Yeah, either of them would be good. Is Potato Pleb a Protoss player?
He is a Terran player. Xeno is a Protoss player.
I'm very familiar with Xeno. He's a cool dude. 500 MMR in a month is totally reasonable. I'm feeling with the proper guidance. And look, you're 3.7 with random too. That's really good.
Yeah. That was at the beginning of the season, and I started joining all these team leagues.
Yeah.
And was like, oh, look at how hard it is to maintain random in these team leagues.
Yeah.
Let's not do that. Let's just go back to
Protoss
for now. Yeah.
I feel you, dude. I mean, again, it's really hard to be good at 3 races at the same time, but like in my opinion, it's the most rewarding because like you get to see all the different perspectives. If that kind of makes sense.
Yeah. And I just find it fun because I like all 3 because of how different they are.
Yeah.
And I like getting to just execute the different things that each race gets to have uniquely from the others.
Yeah, for sure.
Wow.
We gotta know. Wow.
I haven't looked at my random MMR for a while. It's their Protoss and random right now are 4 off. Whoa.
Yeah, that's crazy, cool. Dude.
I like that. All right. I think Xeno's actually in a game for now. So.
All right. Let me see. Let me ping our Discord here. Anyone here? Diamond available. Customs. By using here, I'm about to mention 80 plus people. Are you sure? Of course I am.
Do it. Of course.
Not a single doubt.
Absolutely. You could even ping just Diamond. Oh, Mystic. Oh.
Let's see. Oh, I was gonna do free coaching for him too. He's on my list.
Oh, nice. The good old CaptCanuck, yeah. AKA the real Winter Soldier.
The real Winter Soldier. Oh, was that you in the movie, dude? The whole time?
Yeah.
Oh,
that was
nice.
The play on that is because Canada is so cold and our winters are so long that I'm like I'm the actual one who braves the winter for real. not some weird, messed up American Russian dude with one arm.
What kind of weather do you get?
Right now it's decently warm. It's about 70s occasionally. Some days, like one a week maybe it'll get into the 80s. But in the winter it gets to the minus 20s, 30s.
Oof.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, we try the general chat. Have you ever used the general chat in StarCraft 2?
No, I actually have deleted it.
I've never used it either. I'm just trying to find someone to play you.
Oh, no. Hold on. I might have found someone.
Oh.
Hey, you free to practice?
I feel like I need to make more friends in StarCraft so I can have people available.
I have been adding so many people as of late. It's been ridiculous.
Really?
That's good. Yeah. See, the issue is they're all in a game, but it's Starfox, and she's been in 1v1
Starfox.
for 10.
They're the third one I'm coaching. It's you, nice. Starfox, and Mystic. Yeah.
Oh, that's perfect.
Cool. I'm gonna go ahead and invite you.
Perfect. I mean, she's been in her 1v1 ranked for 10 minutes, so her game shouldn't be too far from finishing.
Excellent.
Maybe.
All right, let's talk very briefly. So Starfox is a, I think, Protoss player, right?
Yes.
Cool. So do you struggle in PvP in terms of like early game, or where do you feel like you handle PvP?
PvP, honestly, I feel is my best matchup because I love weird stuff. I love weird games, stuff that's unusual.
Nice.
And I've come up with my own. I call it the Maple build in PvP. PvT is my least confident.
Oh, we can fix that real quick because I have the easiest PvT wins of all time under my belt.
Thank you.
The tricky part is it's getting that build order. Like it's like a one-step build order where you just make Blink and you make a third base and you add 2 forges and you just have a good time.
Excellent.
And if we can get that down, we're gonna get you Grandmaster because it plays itself, dude. We're gonna have this perfect.
Okay, perfect. Because for my whole life, I've always been like, oh my gosh, Terran's so good. I have the hardest time. Like whatever Terran say about Protoss, I say the same but with less whining.
Oh.
So.
Gotcha. Dang.
I do like to take shots at Terran, but I actually love playing as Terran sometimes. It's really fun.
Terran's my favorite race to play in terms of like TVZ. Like TVZ outshines TVT and TVP so much for me. But I don't know. It's tough for me to say like which race I enjoy the most right now because Zerg I enjoy, ZVZ I enjoy, ZVT, except I lose almost every ZVT because my mechanics are god awful. But besides the point, I enjoy the matchup itself. Like if I was actually playing well, it's really fun. And then PvZ is always so fun because I could just gotta, make some fun units, let them kind of kill everything.
Nice.
It's tough to find. Like there's like 9 matchups and they all have like good and bad things about them. I think TVT is my toughest though. Oh yeah, go ahead.
No, sorry. I'm just saying Warbuff responded saying that after the game he's in, he's down to practice.
Oh, I got someone too.
Hey. Oh, perfect. Who you find?
Can you give me an ad? Chef Boyardee.
Oh, Chef. Nice. I met him first in the Junior Star League.
Oh, really?
Yeah. I'm playing in it this season, and I'm currently 4-0, so I'm pretty happy. I got super lucky with my 4th series. It was a PVT, and in Game 3, I had the most fortunate timing with my Adept Shades.
Really?
If the SCVs hadn't been transferring over the supply depot as my Adept Shades went over, and then I got to kill all the SCVs, I would have lost.
Nice. The shades are tough. Oh, this guy. Uh-oh. Got beef. It'll be okay. Since my strats that I'm giving him are garbage, it should lower his MMR. Alright, you want to make a ladder map?
Oh, I'm the party leader? Oh,
Unless
sure.
you wanna shift me, I can
Yeah. And then you can
handle all that fun stuff. Did you have I'm guessing you probably played most of the maps except probably Turbo Cruise, or do you like Turbo Cruise?
I like Turbo Cruise. I like all the maps.
Okay.
For PvZ, my least favorite map I'd say is Cyber Force, but that's just due to the small amount of room to wall off.
Alright, we're playing Cyber Forest.
Perfect.
I want to put you out of your comfort zone, okay?
Love it.
Alright. Thanks for playing, Pablo. Or what's his name? Chef Boyardee?
Chef Boyardee. Change your color. Kappa.
My color or his color?
No, my color. I like being red just because of the cheesy Canada thing, but it really doesn't matter.
Were you good to go?
Yeah, go.
Excellent.
Let's
Alright, so this first game I'm just kind of watch. I'm not gonna like guide you super hard. I just kind of want to get an kind of general understanding of how you're kind of handling the matchup, if that works out for you.
Cool.
But
please feel free to be as brutal as you want. I can take criticism.
You can take criticism.
I am very fine with hearing what I do wrong.
Good, because I am a hypercritical person.
Perfect.
Oh my goodness, I have WCS overlay right now. What is going on?
Yes, love that.
I don't think I could even change this right now. It's fine. Best map. Nook says he hates it.
Actually, no.
Yeah, I actually do struggle to wall on this map a little bit. Almost every time it's a little janky, but...
Now, here's a question. I've been debating in my head. Is it worth it to just keep the probe down here at the natural?
Yeah, that's the standard way to do it. So what most pro players do is they'll build the pylon and they'll go mine the minerals just because you have downtime, and then you go build the gateway.
Cool, okay.
Yeah, and then usually once you scout off if they're going hatchery or not, I personally just bring the probe right back home, and then I go back into my main. But it's up to you what you want to confirm or not, because it's always safe to scout extra if you want to.
Okay. I mean, I usually scout extra. I like to hide my probe behind the third base minerals just to see when he takes his third.
Yeah.
Oh shoot! My Nexus is late. Oh,
it's okay.
My first game of the day.
It's fine. We're gonna get you warmed up here. I'm already noticing something, but I won't say it yet.
Oh shoot! Yep. No, I noticed it too. Wow. Because I'm going. Wait, why am I dropping my pylon now?
Yeah.
Always drop the Cybo core before the second pylon.
Yeah, exactly. And then generally, you're gonna want to take that second gas before the second pylon as well. There's a really tight build order we can work on opening, which we can go look at after this game. But I'll let you play it out.
Cool. Yeah.
Everything's gonna be okay.
Okay, no super early third, so that's fine.
Yeah. Generally, if the third isn't down by like 3 minutes, I'm gonna be pretty scared. So.
Yeah. Oh yeah. No, I know that's about the latest you should hope to be seeing it, and if it's not down by then, that's when you panic and go, "Oh no."
Yeah. Oh, he found you.
Yeah.
So this is gonna be a little tricky because you're not gonna have scouting for a little bit. So that up should go try to check for a third, and then you should probably wall off that natural with another pylon just in case, or a shield battery. Yeah, that works too. That's actually not gonna wall off with one unit though. So
yeah, I realized that. I'm like,
It's okay. Just keep making probes. Don't forget your probes.
Thank you.
All right, so we did confirm that third. So I would just back up with the adepts.
Yeah.
Yeah. keep on going. Here, I need to take notes. Hang on.
Okay. Oh, didn't re-rally. That's fine. Starfox says, she is free now. I had to trash a turtle Terran.
Nice.
Or thrash a turtle Terran.
Research completed. I return to serve. Pylon under assault.
Glorious combat is upon us.
I'll just say right now that you can improve a lot on your probe production. I'm seeing a lot of idle time on your Nexus.
Yeah.
And I have tricks to kind of help with that, so we'll talk about it afterwards.
Cool. Yeah, that has been something that I've always struggled with.
Yeah, it's okay.
Is it though? No, just kidding.
Inadequate supply. Pylons inefficient.
Have you thought about using your sentries to scout with hallucinated Phoenix so you can get a little bit better information?
Normally I would, yes. I forgot about that.
That's okay. You do have an ops over there, but you're seeing some scary stuff.
Yeah, that's not horrible.
If you put that obs there in general, that's like a good spot if they don't notice it. But what's even better is if you stick it on that high ground as well to the right.
Yeah, that is a good point.
Then you'll get to see like the workers and stuff. Yeah. Ooh, scary Oracle.
Yeah, I like to see them drop spores. Okay. It amuses me.
It's very amusing, I agree. So is your goal here to be Disruptors or Colossus?
I was thinking Colossus. Would Disruptors be better, do you think?
I was gonna say that Disruptors would probably be incorrect with the Double Forge, so Colossus is the better choice. And then you're also gonna need that Twilight tech fairly soon, I would say, just so you can get that 2-2 on time.
Oh, yeah. That's a good point.
Yeah, because if you're going to go Double Forge, it's really important not to get that 2-2 delayed, since it's like, why would you go Double Forge if you're not getting the 2-2 right away, right?
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I think we're doing okay. And then your goal of 66 workers on those 3 bases could have probably been achieved a full minute or so faster, I would say, if we weren't cutting that worker count.
Yeah.
Engaging the enemy. Engaging the enemy. Mineral field exhausted. Mineral cluster expanded.
Really?
So you scouted that building in the very far south, did you? Did you click on it? Oh, you're actually look at your observer right now.
Probes
Okay.
under attack. New technology researched. Upgrade.
So that should probably trigger some kind of attack, but at the same time, it's probably tough because he's a big army.
Yeah.
So what's gonna happen is he's gonna go for Broodlords, right? So
Yeah. Well, I want Blink or Stargate Tech.
if you're going double Forge ground upgrades, I'm feeling Blink. So I would like cut at 4 Colossus and just go like 10 gates of Winkstalkers and just try to macro. Because what's gonna happen is your 4 Colossus are gonna shred those Broodlings really fast, and then hopefully you'll be able to get under the Broodlords with enough Stalkers. So if I were you, I would personally just mass Stalkers behind those 4 Colossus. That's probably your best chance of winning here.
Sounds good.
He's attacking too, but once you get a couple more Colossus, those should be pretty easy to deal with the ground force, I would say.
Yeah.
This is really important. After I know you're busy, I'll tell you after.
Yeah.
Never mind. So we're in kind of a rough spot. Yeah, what I was gonna tell you is when you take harassment damage like that, make sure you rebuild those probes, because right now you're on a 54 worker economy.
Oh, am I? Oh, shoot.
It's hard to think about because like in the heat of the moment, you know, you're not like, oh, I'm getting harassed, I need to replace those, but like it's really important to make sure your worker count's still healthy.
Yeah, because that's hurting me a lot right now.
Yeah, because now you can't really afford your production, right?
No.
Because you built your production around having like basically 70 workers, right? So
Yeah.
Mineral field depleted. Engaging the enemy. We embrace the glory of
so avoid doing stuff like this if you don't have charge, in my opinion.
Yeah, I forgot charge.
Yeah.
And now, okay. I wanted to try it out, but yeah, I should not.
mineral cluster expended. I am here in the shadows. Mineral field exhausted. Research completed.
Okay. So right about now you're starting to mine out. So I would start thinking about taking that 5th base. Generally around 12 minutes, you're going to start to run out of minerals and resources in general. So just keep that in mind. It's easy to get caught up and not realize that you're running out of money. But again, you've been playing for a long time, so it's tough to remember how fast the money runs out in Legacy of the Void.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Upgrade completed. My life for iron.
Yeah, the charge is going to be much better here. Yeah.
Yeah.
How do you feel about your position right now? Do you feel like you're in a decent spot?
I feel like I'm definitely in it.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely don't feel super far ahead, but
Yeah, I would say it's a winnable spot. It's just going to be an uphill battle because he is on that Broodlord tech. Oh, here he comes. That was really good for you.
yeah, that was a really nice gift.
Yeah, and your upgrades are so strong too.
Yeah.
Delicious. The storms are beautiful.
Thank you.
Mineral cluster expended.
All right. Let's see here.
We embrace glory of
GG.
Awesome.
All right, that was a good game. I do have a bunch of things to talk about though. Is Starfox available to play? So I can let Chef go.
Yeah.
Or okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, Chef. I have a bit. Yeah. You were doing really well. A lot of your issues came from larva. I would recommend macro hatches and maybe I have to chat with Canuck for like 10 minutes, so I don't know. Hold on to you. It's perfect. If you need help. Alright, so the main things I drew from that game is we do have a lot of fundamentals to work on, which is good. Because there are a lot of fundamentals that will end up being fixed very quickly, I think, now that we're going to be able to identify it. Oh, Starfox. Hey. Chat with Canuck for about 10 minutes or less. Just gotta go. Okay, so the initial build order there you did could be tightened up fairly significantly. It's not like the biggest thing in the world. Like you're not going to automatically just start winning every game because your build order is slightly better. But But the order we're going for in this kind of matchup is going to be that, again, you go pylon on the low ground. I personally will mine a mineral just because my probe's idle, and then you'll build that gateway on about 14.
Cool.
Unless do you want to add Starfox Voice? Is that okay? We can just do it together.
Sure. Sounds good.
Oops, what did I do? Hey,
Where
broke
where
it.
do you want to go? You broke it?
I don't know how to add people in the groups on Discord, dude.
We could just go into the an Alpha X team chat. If we want.
Yeah, let's do that.
Team chat too.
Team chat too?
Oh, okay. I found the thing.
Hello, hello?
Voila!
Hey! Hello, everyone. Hi, Starfox.
Hi.
How are you doing?
Good.
Good. Excellent.
Nice to have StarCraft.
So we watched about a 17-minute game of PvZ, so I just have to go over that with Mr. Canuck, and then we're good to play a game or two with you, if that sounds good.
Okay. Yeah.
So what I was mentioning, Canuck, again, we can fix that early game build a little bit just to tighten it up. Again, it wasn't necessarily why you won or lost the game, but having your initial opener be really precise will put you into a stronger mid game. Since you're working with like a very small amount of workers, every single worker you add faster, percentage-wise, is a big deal in the early game compared to like the mid or late game, is what I would say. So your build order you did, I know you messed up on the Cybercore. That's okay, but like assuming you were doing it right, you would have gone for that pylon on the low ground, gateway on 15, and then gas on 16, I think it was. And then from there, it should have been a Nexus on 20 supply. And what ended up happening that I noticed is that you saturated your main base's gas almost immediately with 3 workers. And that's actually, that's not standard in PvZ or PvT anymore. So you'll see gas saturation in PvP. And even then, there's some build order variants where you do not saturate the gas. But what you actually do in PvT and PvZ now is you'll go ahead and rally your initial workers to the minerals until you have 16. And then from there, you'll start rallying your new probes to gas. So you'll actually have 16 workers mining minerals. And then after that, you'll end up having 1 worker mining the gas, and then 2 workers mining the gas, and then 3 as they pop out from your nexus. Does that make sense?
Okay. Yep.
So the build order that you're going to be opening now instead is going to be that gateway or pylon, gateway, just like you were doing, then gas geyser, and then you're going to build workers rallied to the gas once you have 16 in your mineral line. And from there, on 20 supply, you build your nexus. And then also on 20 supply, you build your second gas. And then you resume probing. And from there, once you resume probing, you can start saturating that second gas. And as soon as you start that second gas, you actually can almost afford your second pylon at that point. So it's kind of a really tight build order. And we can go over how that actually works another time. I'll write it out for you just so you have reference of how that works. But it's a very standard build order to do, and once you tighten it up, it'll just leverage you into a little bit stronger of a mid game, if that kind of makes sense. Do you have any questions about the idea behind you would basically put your probes into the gas one at a time and keep your 16 minerals saturated? Or does that kind of make sense?
That makes sense. I've wondered at which one is better, whether to immediately saturate or do it like that.
Yeah. Because this
better.
game now is very, very economy focused. Like your goal is almost always going to be a 4-base 70 worker economy. And in order to build an economy faster, you need minerals. And gas doesn't help you increase your economy. Your gas is almost entirely going towards tech, right? Like there's no unit in the game that takes gas that'll improve your economy. So what happens is your gameplay should almost be revolving around mineral saturation. So unless you're doing kind of a weird tech build, like let's say you wanted to go like a super fast Stargate after, taking your Nexus, then that might be a case where you would want to take that gas a little bit earlier. But since you looked like you were doing a more macro-oriented play without any kind of harassment, like you took that Robo, you most likely are going to have to adjust your opener a little bit into that mineral focus kind of style in order to be kind of optimally set up for the mid game, is what I would describe. From there, did you have any questions about how that works, if that kind of makes sense?
No, just to confirm though, on 21 supply, I get my Cybo, because you said 20 Nexus.
Oh,
and
sorry,
second
I'm so
gas.
sorry. It's going to be a 20 Nexus, 20 Cyber. You're not going to build your worker until you get that Cyber. Because you want to get that Cyber up as fast as possible, so you can build the Adept as fast as possible, which will help you defend versus cheeses. It helps you get your unit onto the map as soon as possible, so you can shade towards the third and check there's bases, if that kind of makes sense. Because again, the Cybercore is a mineral-based unit. You don't have to mine gas for it, so you're just basically going to make your Nexus and then rush that Cybercore immediately afterwards. The reason why you go Nexus Cyber is because there's not really any builds that you will die to unless it's like a 12 pull. And even then, you'll end up scouting that with your Probe Scout. So there's no really incentive to build your Cybercore before the Nexus, if that kind of makes sense. Yes, I'm reading chat, Squishy, EJ. Okay, sorry. So from there, what I noticed a little bit as you were saturating your 2-base economy, you did cut your probes fairly frequently. Even while you were cutting workers, you still had a lot of minerals being floated. I think I noticed at one point you did have about 500 minerals, and you had no probes queued. And then about like 15 seconds later, you queued up about 3 gateways. So just being a little bit more conscious of what your mineral count looks like in general, just so you can spend it a little bit faster on your production, as well as you want to make sure that you're not cutting probes at any point in time. So as I mentioned, your goal in Legacy of the Void is to hit that 70 worker count, kind of, and you want to get there pretty much as fast as you can. And if you're cutting workers and your opponent's not cutting workers, you're going to be behind if you're playing someone good, right? Because again, they'll hit 70 workers and you'll still be at like 58 because you cut workers a few times. So you want to try to avoid generally cutting workers at all. What I generally do when I play is I build my workers, and then when I have the extra money to build production, I'll go ahead and do that. But I generally avoid cutting workers unless I'm doing some all-in. Like, for example, the Warp Prism charge build with the 2 Immortals as an example, you will cut workers to build gateways to get it out faster. But if your goal seems like it's more macro-oriented, you're not going to be wanting cutting those workers at all. And I described that there's a way to kind of manage that. Do you pay attention to your command card at the bottom of your screen, like monitoring what units are building by any chance? I guess it's probably a little different since it depends on your race. Like if you're Terran, you'll notice it more often. Since Warp Tape, you won't have like units queued, right?
Not a ton, no.
Not a ton. So that's something I would advise you working on, is looking at your command card. Because the way I always keep track of my workers is whenever I have my nexuses selected, I look at my command card at the bottom, and you can see what units are queued up. Like if I have a Robo Facility and I queue up 5 Immortals, you'll see the 5 queued up. So whenever I select my nexus, I'll always look at that command card, and I always double check that I have units queued up. Because again, every second I'm not queuing up units is just kind of ineffective, or inefficient, I guess is a better word. So from there, that's just something that you're going to have to build up as a skill. So it's going to take practice, but I just like you to be conscious of it, because that's something that will really help you not cut workers, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, no, that makes sense.
And then from there, this is very minor. We can work on your building placement a little bit. There was one point in time where you did get supply blocked, and you kind of just threw down some pylons.
Yeah, and a little bit, not completely, a little bit had to do with the Cyber Forest natural and main base. I don't like the base, but this game I definitely was not paying as much attention to my building placement.
And I know it's distracting again, having me basically talking while you're playing. Like it's tough again.
Oh,
so
no,
don't feel super bad like if you get supply blocked. It's just even if you get supply blocked, I would recommend just avoiding throwing down pylons randomly, because it can kind of screw you up later if you try to put your building placements in like a weird spot. I actually do personally struggle with building placement a lot too. I don't plan ahead too well, and I end up actually having trouble fitting all my buildings. So this is something I need to work on as well. So this isn't like the end all be all like, hey, just fix your building placement, but it's just something to think about.
Yeah.
And then we're going to have to work on how you approach your production as you start moving up to a 3-base economy. I think the double forge in general is a bad play in PvZ. And the double robo is also a bad play currently in PvZ. So what's more common now, unless you're going Immortals, you can go double Robo Immortals. That's a bit more common. But the double Robo Colossus
that
is
has been a build I've been doing more.
Yeah,
Sorry.
the double Robo Colossus is a huge commitment that can be easily countered. Like, let's say your opponent went for Mutalisk, like, you're just going to be dead because you don't have Blink Tech, you don't have anything more than 3 gateways for most of the time there, and they're just going to immediately die. So the kind of structure that I like to go for on a 3-base economy is usually 1 Robo, 1 Forge, and I like to get about 8 gateways or so. For you, as you're still learning, I'd recommend going up to 10 gateways just to give you a little bit more leeway as to what you should be producing. Because if you're producing optimally on 8 gateways, like every single time your warp cycle is complete, and you warp your Stalkers, you'll basically spend your money. But no, I mean, being realistic, we're not going to be macroing perfectly for a little while. Probably a couple months, or 6, 12, a couple of years. I don't know. So it's always good to give you a little bit of leeway, especially as Protoss. I do recommend building extra gateways since you are going to be unoptimal with your warp cycles, and that's kind of the nature of playing this game. Like, no one can play it perfectly, so might as well do things to help you kind of work around it. But go ahead.
I try and do that.
Yeah.
No, that's what I try and do, and I usually try and make sure, like, if I know where my probe's supposed to be, I try and send a little bit earlier, just so that I don't forget and it's not late.
Right.
Just because I know I will forget something and I will be late a lot of times.
And then another thing on top of that as well is the commitment to that double Robo as well is just such a huge investment in your economy, just because of how expensive those Colossus are. That it really kind of sticks you into a really one-dimensional kind of style where it's like, if they tech switch, you're just immediately going to die. So I would highly recommend only going double Robo if you're going for Immortals. And Chargelots and Archons are kind of the composition, what you would do for double Robo. And even then, you have to be really careful with scouting for Mutalisks, because as soon as they switch to Spire and you're caught off guard, you're going to die. So it's very, very tricky. And that's why I do prefer to play more mobile-oriented kind of play styles. Like, I do like to open Phoenix a lot in PvZ, because it eliminates that kind of uncertainty as to whether or not they're going mutas. And then I'll usually follow up with, like, single Robo Colossus with, like, a Blink Stalker or something like that.
Cool.
But that's just my own personal preference and style. Like, you're able to play a passive game with, you know, Colossus or, like, Immortals or Archons, but you just have to keep in mind, like, what your opponent can be doing, because there's a lot of options out there. And then from there, one thing I did notice was when you took that harassment damage with the Zerglings, you need to really pay attention to what you're losing, because you need to remake those workers. And I struggle with this a lot. Speaking of Vindicta, when I play versus Vindicta, he does, like, nukes and Liberator harass, I often will lose workers and not realize how many I lost, and then I'll find myself on, like, a 50 worker economy, and then I'll just run out of money because my opponent has, like, 80 workers with mules. Because I'm not paying attention to, like, hey, I just lost 20 workers to a nuke, or, like, hey, I just lost 15 workers to a Liberator. So when you lost probably, like, 15 workers to the Link harass, you had to have built those pretty much immediately out of your Nexus. So I would try to get into the habit of, when you lose probes, to start queuing up workers immediately. And, like, the worst case that can happen is you'll over-probe slightly, but it's better to have more probes than not enough probes, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Especially when you're still learning. So I felt that a lot. And then one minor thing, try to queue up charge whenever you can afford it while your Blink is researching. It's a 100 upgrade, and you're generally going to float that much anyway, so it doesn't hurt to just queue it. Just as an example, like, pro players will queue up both Hydra upgrades at the same time, and it's like 100 extra money that they just invest, basically, to make sure that they don't have to waste any time in waiting for the Blink to upgrade. Because if you have to wait for the Blink to upgrade and be, like, consciously thinking about it and have to use the APM to go back and get charged, you're going to forget it fairly often. So it's better to queue it up if you're able to, if you have the money, at any point in time, I would say. Like, even if you have Blink and then, like, 30 seconds later you're like, oh, I can afford charge, I would just recommend doing it. Because, again, charge is such a strong upgrade, and you don't want to be in a position where you forget it. And then finally, we do have a little bit of unit control stuff we can work on. I think you were using 2 army hotkeys. Does that sound right? Or were you using 1?
I use 1 hotkey for my main army, and then I have a second one usually for spellcasters like High Templar.
Excellent. Okay, so that's perfect. It's just managing those 2 groups is just going to be an APM issue, which we're just going to have to practice. And finally, oh yeah, go ahead, sorry.
So usually I try and tag my High Templar on a unit that won't just immediately die
Yeah.
when moving around. So, but I
Yeah,
this game,
ideally
I
you're going to
forgot.
be micromanaging those High Templar to a point where you're going to be like, let's just say, what army hotkeys do you use, by the way? Is it so?
So I have my own custom hotkey setup.
Mhm.
So I have my buildings on 1 through 4, and then I made WERT control groups as well.
Oh, excellent!
So,
That's really cool.
and so I put my main army on T, my spellcasters on R. I put my harassing unit, whether that's a Wart Prism or Oracle, on E, and
Mhm.
usually an Observer if I happen to have 2 different spellcasters, because I hate using the tab because I miss it a lot.
Yeah.
I'll put the last one on W, but that usually doesn't happen.
Right. I'm gonna just recommend as a kind of exercise for you while playing is to start
Mhm.
cycling between those units.
Okay.
People think it's like APM spam or whatever, but it's really useful to just cycle between them because once you're in that fight, you're gonna want to switch between those pretty quickly, right? Like if you want to move your Blinkstalker Colossus and Storm, and you want to like move the Storm back, like you're gonna have to be able to switch between those quickly. So you might as well just practice moving between them as much as you can. Like when I play Storm Colossus as an example. Oh, sorry, Colossus Stalker Storm. I'll be like 2-2, 3-3, 2-2, 3-3, like back and forth, because
Cool.
I want to make sure all my units are always moving. I always have them available to use their spells, and I'm not like fumbling over my keys to make sure I'm like clicking the right stuff. Because there was one engagement where like you fought with like Colossus Stalker Sentry, and like none of the force fields actually ended up going off. As an example. Just because like it's a little hard, it's hard APM wise to do everything, but by practicing just again cycling between your units, you'll start to get faster, and you'll get more used to having to handle separate hotkeys, if that kind of makes sense.
Yeah, that made that.
And then lastly, your opponent lost because they had no larva. If they wanted to win that game, they could have won very easily, in my opinion. And I don't mean that as like a detriment to your play, but it's just something to take away that your opponent did make a ton of errors as well. So that person, again, he was like 3.3k or something, 3.4k. So like he's not the highest level player. But what I'm getting at is your opponents are making huge errors in the same league as you. And I'm not seeing like huge errors on your part that like are really obvious. So I feel like we're gonna move up fairly quickly. Like I think that's a good thing.
Awesome.
So yeah, I think moving forward, I know I threw a lot of stuff at you, but we're gonna be reiterating over this over and over the next couple of weeks probably, until we start really fine tuning stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, did you have any questions before we kept going, or are you feeling okay?
No, that's feeling pretty good. I took notes on the things to start doing.
Yeah, I'll have my my VOD will stay up too if you want to ever reference that, because I know
Perfect.
again there's a lot of stuff that I'm throwing at. Do you care if I put it on YouTube just so you have reference?
Go for it.
Okay,
Yeah,
cool.
no.
I'll do that afterwards. And then Starfox, did anything I say strike anything that you wanted to bring up, or are you still doing okay?
I feel like you ended up answering the questions that I had. So.
Excellent. Okay, cool. Yeah, if you ever have any questions too, just feel free to throw them at me.
Okay.
I know we have our session tomorrow, but since you're here today, it's obviously beneficial. So.
Okay.
All right. Let's go ahead and play a game. If you guys are feeling up to it.
Oh yeah.
Excellent.
All right.
Do you care what map, Starfox, or do you have everything unvetoed?
No, any map's fine. I don't have any vetoes. Right?
Okay. Let's go ahead and do. I'm feeling an Acropolis game.
Sweet.
And then are you guys going to do a PvP?
Yeah.
I think yes.
All right.
No,
I'm not gonna play anything else good enough to be helpful. So.
No, you're good. I know Canuck plays all 3 races around the same level. So.
All right.
My Terran's a little bit lower, but that's just mostly because I don't know army compositions very well.
Yeah. Terran's hard, but there's a lot to do, like Terran build order wise, that if you start to really get a knack for it, you'll start improving super fast. But there's a bunch of cycle based stuff to Terran that we can't really get into right now, since we're kind of working on Protoss. But
yeah.
All right.
Future plans?
Yeah. Are you guys ready to play?
Let's go.
Excellent.
Go.
Let's get hyped.
So yeah, just play like you do normally. I'll see if I catch anything to write down. Again, I don't really feel like I should be like guiding you yet. I just feel like we should just go over what I think we can improve on first, and then like over the next couple sessions we can start really focusing on guiding you through it. 'Cause, I'm not seeing like fundamental strategic really bad things. If that kind of makes sense.
Cool.
Alright, good luck, guys. Stay safe.
Starfox, you won't cannon rush me.
Nah, I'm not good at cannon rushing.
We can fix that. I love cannons.
I always thought it would be fun to be able to do cannons because then you can just strike fear in everybody's heart.
Yeah.
But
Do you know how ashamed I was, Starfox, when you tuned into my stream and saw that completely disgusting PvZ where I had like 4 workers? I don't even know what to say to that.
it was quite the comeback. So.
Yeah.
So,
Oh right, I'm doing PvP. Build orders. Are good.
oh, I walled off wrong. Oh well. That's fine.
I did write a note that your building placement was really bad.
Normally it's not. Like, I don't know what happened this time.
Yeah, Starfox is on point though.
Yeah. No, usually... No, what am I doing with that? No, I want that
Yeah,
there.
I kind of screwed up mine too, but not
It's okay.
terribly.
It's all a learning experience, guys.
Yeah, I just usually like
Yeah.
a wider joke for Archons, but
Yeah.
it's okay.
I think they should still fit through there. I could be
they
wrong.
have 2 spaces.
Do they? Yeah, okay.
Yeah, they're very fat.
They are. See, look, you're teaching me already, Starfox. Ooh. See.
And to help resolve this, I'm gonna put my 3rd pylon where I don't normally.
I'll put my notes on the screen so
Oh,
people can
oops.
see.
Run away. Oh, that's clever. I like that.
Oh no, I screwed up.
I'm loving what I'm seeing from both of you guys.
No, that's awkward.
What we got? Oh, okay. Let's see.
Is your build inspired by Rotterdam by any chance?
Yes.
Okay, just checking.
Yes, he is the one that inspired this. It's my own creation, which makes me feel super proud of myself. But yeah, come on.
Yeah. So. Alright, we're gonna see how this works.
This is already so interesting.
Ah, come on.
Oh my goodness, children behave. Play nice.
No.
Wait, why did that not move? Okay, whatever.
Because Buzz Bomb.
Don't go over there, you stupid idiot. Alright.
I'm feeling lots of emotions right now.
Yeah. Oh. No wonder.
Canuck, I think you played this very well, but I just have to preface that with you got a really big build order win here.
Yep.
This is a very practiced build order.
Yeah.
I've worked on this with Xeno
Oh yeah.
and figured out where exactly I want to go with this.
Yeah. Okay.
So
Yeah, this is tough.
Yeah.
Hang in there.
So this I struggle against big time. Like, I
Yeah.
think the only way I've beaten you with on this is that like when I was just already planning on rushing out DTs.
yeah.
DTs would be strong, but he could respond with Oracle still. I think ideally, like, just pumping out a lot of Stalkers would be the best to deal with
That's,
this.
that's like never
that
helped
is-
me though.
That is the best counter to this that I've seen.
Like I've literally never had any luck with stalkers versus Phoenix.
It's really
have to have,
important.
like a crap ton.
Yeah, so the important part, Starfox, is that you're not letting your Stalkers get picked off. So you always have to keep them near your shield batteries, and then build up a Stalker count that gets so big that the Phoenix can't really deal with that anymore. And then if you're able to
but
tech
it's like
blink
I
as
have
well.
So many probes that I'm just so behind in economy that I can't do anything.
Yeah, so ideally, you're not losing workers. If you're pumping out Stalkers on 3 gates, you're not going to take as much worker damage. But since you did invest in those 2 Stargates, it's really hard to afford the Stalkers in order to
Yeah, I was
kill
planning
him.
going on. I was like, yeah, maybe I can catch up if I camp near shield batteries. But
Yeah. It's tough, though, because basically the investment you put into those Stargates was like for 0 basically cost return, and that was a really expensive investment.
yeah, pretty much.
But I think you're not dead, so hang in there.
Not dead yet.
Yet, yet being the key word here.
So what are these slow zealots? Kind of what is going on?
Those are cannon fodder.
Cannon
That is-
fodder.
That is purely their purpose, is to take shots and distract the AI,
Yeah.
and it saved my butt. It's typically usually for the early game, but I'm experimenting with how they work in the late
Yeah.
game too.
You said your
'Cause-
PvP was your most your best or your most comfortable?
Yeah.
Or kind of both?
Yeah,
Yeah, I can
Yeah.
see why, because this is a really strong style if it gets up.
yeah, and I just obviously I haven't won every game if it goes long in this because I'm still figuring out how to respond to what situations. But
Yeah, because there are situations that you're just gonna flat out die to some all-ins. This is an example.
yeah. Oh yeah, in the early game, any all-in with this, if I don't scout it properly, kills me.
Yeah, like a proxy immortal with 3 gates or something would probably kill you.
I usually can get enough Phoenix out. If I don't waste all my lifts, then yeah.
Yeah, it depends on how optimized your opponent's build order is, because there's some really strong timings people can do. But anyway, continuing forward, you guys are both playing beautifully. I love it. I like that Starfox is making the best out of this scary situation.
Where's your army? There it is. Oh, don't let the Archon hit us.
Can I play versus this build, PvP, Canuck, just to test something? If you want to do
Sure.
it against me?
Sure.
And I'm not gonna like metagame it, I just wanna
Oh.
PvP it.
I think I need some shield batteries here.
Yeah, I think Storm was probably the best tech choice to follow up with, but there's no way for you to know that he was doing this air stuff, I don't think.
I figured Void Rays are going to be coming.
Yeah, in my experiences, Storm is going to be your best response, like Storm Archon with some Stalker support.
Okay. You don't usually think of Storm in PvP.
You'd never think of Storm because you don't really see those compositions very frequently, but it's honestly the best response once they start stacking Void Rays like that. Because if you land like 4 Side Storms in a row, that's pretty much going to kill that army. So,
Yeah.
Okay.
It forces me to run away.
at the very least, yeah. And if you have cannons and shield batteries, it'll work well. Did you want to? Are you okay with watching a game, Firefox? Or Flaming Fox? Sorry, Starfox. I don't know what to call you. There's lots of foxes here.
Yeah, no, it's awkward because my battle tag is different from my StarCraft name right now.
Oh, is it really?
The battle tag anymore.
Yeah, I think everything. I have a few weird account names in that kind of situation. But all right, give me that Protoss. I want to see.
Oh yeah. Let's do it.
I'm ready to lose. Okay.
Okay. If you say so.
Hey, you laugh. I do lose to diamond players. It's a real thing.
I once beat a 4.6k Terran by proxy Void Ray Shield Battery.
Oh, really?
Cheesing Rush. Yeah. It was in a Masters automated tournament, and it felt super cool. I was like, yeah, I did it. And then the person that I played next saw my match history. He's like, oh, you used that? And I was like, yeah.
It's a strong build. Like, if it goes up without any kind of issue, you're gonna win, like, just for free a lot of the time.
Yeah, and I mean, I gained 80 MMR from it, so that was
Yeah.
cool.
One of the main things, you gotta fix that early game building positioning, though. That was iffy.
Yeah, no, that's a freak thing. That's not usually how it goes.
Mhm.
I blame stream first time on your stream.
Yeah, nervousness.
But yeah, we'll go.
No, you're not nervous. You're just overwhelmed
No.
with sensory input.
Yeah, no, I definitely don't feel nervous. I'm actually super surprised how chill I'm feeling.
No, we're just here to have fun, dude.
Yeah. Usually my first time for stuff in StarCraft, I like tank super bad. Like any first time with tournament stuff or casting, it's just tanked.
Gotcha.
So
It's
I'm really
it's natural
happy
to be
with
like
how
that, though. So don't feel
Oh, yeah.
bad.
Oh yeah, no, it definitely. I just vented to a couple people like, oh my gosh, blah, and then it was all
Blur.
good. Yeah.
All right, I'm gonna play pretty much like you played, Starfox. I'm just gonna respond a little bit differently to what I scout, I think. Because you went up with the 2-gate adepts, and then you went Nexus pretty close afterwards, right?
Yeah.
And then did you go any
that's
tech
my
before the double
ideal.
Stargate? Oh, that's the ideal is if they go the fast Nexus.
Yeah, if I see they go Nexus, fast Nexus, I go, yes, I have a great chance of winning. It doesn't mean a guaranteed win, but
Yeah.
it definitely makes me happy.
I'm gonna try to play exactly like Starfox and just make some adjustments to the build. And I'm just not gonna metagame, I'm just gonna play normal.
Okay. Now, I think I know what the definition of metagame is, but define metagame.
When I say metagame, it means that I know what you're doing, so I'm gonna purposely counter you without scouting it. So what
Okay.
happens is if I have a friend that I play a lot of ladder games against and I know they play a certain style, I'll basically blind counter them, and it ends up being bad practice because they're not actually playing it like they're playing some random person, they're playing it like they're playing their friend. So we call that metagaming, because it's like you know the game outside of what's actually going on. Kind of description there.
Cool.
Did that make sense? I don't know if I explained it well.
No, that does make sense.
Excellent.
Yes. Give us your command. Porzala.
Oh. Crap. Ah.
It's okay. Just cancel, I'll leave.
Okay.
What?
That's not the first time that's happened where I've split them like that. It's really funny.
Let your will be heard.
That's the last donation I'm giving you, though. We're playing normal now. Because now I know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Fire shall be reclaimed.
So right now, when I see this Starfox, I'm going to start adding gateways.
Let your
Oh,
will
okay.
be heard.
And I think I'm going to go up to 4 gate. Because what's going to happen here is I'm on a better economy. I'm going to have better pro production. I just have to have the units to not take damage to his Phoenix.
Okay.
The Templar. We serve with pride.
Grab him. I dare you. Take him. And then I think I'll follow up with Blink. Again, my build order is not a perfect response. I'm basically just making it up, but this is how I would react in a real kind of situation, I guess. So right now, he should have like 4 or 5 Phoenix, probably 5 with 6 being rallied. He shouldn't be able to kill really much. So since he's coming into the main, I'll pull some of these units up there. I'm just gonna warp in more stalkers. And if you pay attention to the worker count right now, I'm actually still ahead, and I actually have a bigger army than him right now. So now I'm gonna start researching Blink. I'm guessing we're probably similar in supply, but his supply is sunk into Phoenix. That can't actually kill as much as I can produce. So what's gonna end up happening here is I'm going to be able to afford 1 more cycle of units, and this is gonna be pretty much shut down. Alright, at this point I'm not going to lose too many more workers unless he starts suiciding Phoenix. So rude. And then it's kind of advanced. If you can handle 2 army hockeys, that's like ideal, but you don't have to.
Yeah. 2 army hockeys isn't that hard when it's just like,
Units in one base and then the other, yeah.
yeah. No, my struggle is putting spellcasters on different hotkeys and everything else for whatever.
Yeah. We could work on that. A lot of it comes again to cycling your units just to practice.
Yeah.
You see what I mean though? That I just have so many stalkers that he can't really do anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you just lose Phoenix if you die.
And then my
Yeah,
Blink's
and
gonna
this-
finish up.
And this is where I have to be super careful, because what happens if I lose my Phoenixes? Any more Phoenixes really? You can just walk across the map
Yeah,
and kill me.
and even right now, if I was just playing this in a ladder game, I would just send my army across the map as soon as Blink was done, and just like, hey, kill my probes, I'm gonna kill you anyway. That's how I would play this.
And I see that, and so I go, all right, bring the Phoenixes back.
Yeah.
And with the Zealots on the low ground distracting or getting damage done, I'm usually
can handle
able
it.
to, yeah.
Gotcha. But the thing is, I'm gonna play this out like I'm really trying to win. So what I do is transition into Archons at this point.
Yeah.
And
This is where I'm always unsure of which direction to go. Do I go Immortals or Voids? And
So
that's
you've
why
committed so much to this Stargate tech that it's really going to be hard to transition out of this. But your goal should be charge a lot Immortal Archon. Like, you should switch into standard PvP if you can. It's just going to be really hard because I have such a big army lead on you right now, on the ground. Yeah, I'll move to 8. So yeah, this is how I would recommend you playing this out, Starfox, as you go Stalkers, transition in the Blink if you can, and eventually
More
you're just going to be ahead.
is the answer here.
I think so. That's what I chose, and it worked. I don't know if it's like the end all be all, like this is the correct solution, but it definitely works in this specific case.
Yeah. Well, yeah, if you... Yeah, it's the opener.
No.
Necessarily good for defending it, then yeah.
Yeah. Also, if I was being like really mean, I would be chasing these a lot more aggressively. But
Oh, yeah.
I'm
Yeah.
a nice guy. And then at this point, I mean, I haven't got any scout on you, so I'm not gonna assume you're going like air or something. I'm just gonna make Archons.
Yeah, and I want that because I want to see how the Void Rays hold up, because that's what I am doing.
Is going for the air.
Yeah.
Yeah, so like if I was metagaming, I would go for Storm, like, but I'm not gonna do that.
Yeah. Because I mean, I like air. It's just they're my. Oop! No. Aw, sad days.
I got me.
Yeah. My air is my favorite. Like Phoenixes and Immortals are my 2 favorite Protoss units.
Yeah, they go well together.
Yeah. And any juicy probe? Oh, there's one.
I'm not making workers, dude.
Yeah, but there was one mining over there.
Is that the first probe kill? No, you got some at the beginning. I'm just kidding.
Yeah. No, the point is to rush out 4 Phoenixes to go and get some worker damage.
Yeah.
And then with those ground support zealots, if they try and rush me, I can usually hold. With most rushes.
Oh, I actually scouted the voids. I didn't even realize it. I'm a dumbass.
You are.
Who's that?
That's frickin' Miguel. You guys
Oh
know
my
Vindicta,
gosh.
the famous WCS Terran?
Oh yeah, he and I go way back.
Oh, yeah?
How's it going, man?
I'm tired, but hello.
Hello.
How new and original.
I'm here for Alex.
Really, dude?
Aw.
Yeah.
So kind of you.
ASMR voice is why I'm here.
How do you feel about the coaching stream?
Better coach than me, dude.
I worked really hard. Alright, I think it's time to test my army. I'm going for you.
Okay. Oh, I forgot to get a 3rd Stargate. Oh well. Okay.
Are you floating money?
Not really. But
Then you
I
didn't
could
need
be
it.
Producing a little more.
True. So I think my army should straight up destroy yours, but we'll see what happens.
Yes.
So I'm at... I think I should be probably 50 supply up right now.
What is your supply right now?
150.
I'm at 116.
Yeah, about... So 40, 36, 34. Yeah. Also, you're on 2 bases, right? Or did you take the other base?
Yeah. Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, your zealots are super good. Okay. So with your zealots, yeah, that's GG. Cool.
Yeah.
I like this. And see, I'm really happy about this because when I first started trying it, it just started working. I'm like, oh my gosh, I found something.
Yeah.
And so I'm just trying to refine it as much as I can and see where is it weak, what do I need to adjust so it's not that way in that
Right.
situation. Because
So the main way I think you could have improved upon this game, again, I wasn't watching, but from my understanding is that your Phoenix gave you a lot of map control, and you should have used that to take advantage of grabbing a faster Nexus.
okay.
So if you grabbed a faster Nexus and started like building cannons and shield batteries and started massing voids on like 3 Stargates, I think you might have been okay. But since you got stuck on that 2 base economy, I think you started to struggle. Also, if we're just looking again, I described how I was really far ahead in workers since I wasn't losing any. So I'm just looking back at about the 6-minute mark when your Nexus finally finished. It was 26 workers for you versus 38 for me. So I think if there's a correct response like this from an opponent, it's going to be really hard to win. That being said, not everyone's going to have that correct response, right? So I think that this is a cool build for sure, and I think that we can keep refining it. Like as for mentioned, I think there's ways we could have got ahead in this game as you, even as the person not really doing harass damage as much, but like the Phoenix do give you a lot of map control that you can take advantage of. So there's definitely viability in this, and I feel like I've seen Rotterdam play something very, very not necessarily the same, but a similar concept where he skips Warp Gate, goes Phoenix, and then goes Robo Immortals, stuff like that. So this is definitely a viable strat. It's just there's some tuning up we need to do, I think, in terms of how you transition. I think, but the opener's cool, I think for sure. But
Cool.
yeah, the moral of that game is there is a response to this, and I think it's going pure gateway with Stalkers in the early game, and I think that's probably the strongest way to deal with it.
Yeah. Well, there's a response to any strategy.
Yeah,
No
of course.
strategy is the ultimate, because
Yeah,
then it'd be the one that's used every time.
exactly. That's true. Did that help you at all, Starfox? Kind of seeing how that played out.
Yeah, a lot.
That's good. Yeah, because if you're trying to play catch up on Phoenix and they already have 2 Stargates, just as an example, like you're gonna die. Like there's nothing you can do when they have 4 Phoenix and you just got your 2 Phoenix popping out. So it's really tricky to try to respond that way. So I think that Stalkers positioned well in your mineral lines, transitioning into Blink, and then just playing standard beyond that is probably the best way to do it.
Okay, yeah. I think I just need to make more gateways in the beginning.
Yeah, because I think you kept getting equalized in workers too. Like you were both like 26 to 26, and you kept remaking them, but you kept trading them. So one of the key parts of what I did is I wasn't really losing that many workers, so I just kept being able to stay ahead and be able to afford more stuff. Because it's hard to say, hey, I need more gateways if you don't really have the economy to support it, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a lot to think about.
Right.
But I think that was cool. Canuck, I like that build, and we can keep working on that for sure.
Word.
And then Starfox, if you wanted to like practice versus that, like I think I can probably coach you into beating it. It's just a practice thing.
I struggle against Phoenix.
Just in general, I do too. Like Phoenix is a really strong way to play. That's why you see it so
Phoenix.
often. But I think one of my most not shocking, but like eye-opening games was when I played a player named Virium. I don't know if you've ever heard of Virium before. He's a player who was around in Heart of the Swarm. He's probably around like top 30 Grandmaster, and he was playing again recently, and I played him in a PvP. And I opened up with the A1 base Stargate where I was just pumping out Phoenix, and he did a very similar thing to what I did this game, where you just go 3-4 gate Stalker into Blink, and I couldn't kill a single probe, and he was really active with his Blink Stalkers, and I just have every single time I went in to try and kill a probe, I would lose a Phoenix, and I was just like, oh, okay, this is going to beat me every single time. So there is a strong response to it. It's just really knowing to use that response, I would say.
Right. Yeah, because I don't know. I always knew that like you were supposed to be able to like do Blink Stalkers and like hit a Blink timing to counter stuff like that, but I could never make it work.
Yeah, and I think it's important as well. You don't have to kill your opponent with a Blink timing. You can use the Blink Stalkers just to transition into a normal game.
Just like get a third.
Yeah, because kind of like I did there. Because like again, you're gonna have a worker lead since you aren't investing, or you invest in your Nexus faster, and then you're not taking damage. So you can go ahead and turn that into a standard, macro economy, and end the game kind of similar to how I did, where I just had charge lots Archons, Stalkers, just overwhelm them. Just because if you look at the worker graph and resource collection rate, like my bar is just so far ahead the whole time, just because of the way the build's played out. But I think that's a lot, guys, to think about, just how that matchup kind of functions. Like Phoenix are really strong, but there is a response to it. It's just really thinking about like, hey, this is my opponent's doing this, and this is probably the best way to handle it. That's really tough to identify sometimes. So.
Yeah.
Anyway, I think we should probably wrap up there. I know it's not like the longest coaching session, but unfortunately,
that's totally cool.
Yeah, unfortunately, I have to get going to bed pretty soon here. So I'm going to go ahead and, if you guys are both fine, I'll put that on YouTube just so you can reference it. Especially that first game after I gave you the advice as to what to do. I think there was a lot to talk about there, which we can reference over the next couple of weeks. Otherwise, did you have any like general questions or anything, either of you, or do you feel kind of okay?
I feel good about it. I got the fundamental goals to start working on from you, so
Mhm.
this has more than met my expectations and hopes. So
Cool.
we are good to go. Moving on.
Excellent. Canucks, I'm doing Starfox is coaching tomorrow. If you're interested in coming back, I don't know if you're free.
Cool.
I'd love to have you too.
I don't know yet either,
Mhm.
so I will keep you guys posted.
Yeah, if
and
you're
we'll
here,
see.
that'll be great because it's fun to have it as like a group thing too, especially if you guys can help each other wherever you can.
Oh,
I think that's
absolutely.
cool.
Yeah.
Oh, I
Good
enjoy
streamer.
practicing with Starfox too. She's a good player. So
Ugh.
It's good stuff. Also,
You play Noya,
ignore Vindicta. That guy is a terrible Terran player who doesn't know what he's doing.
Can you coach me?
Yeah, as soon as I can break 5.8k, I'll think about coaching.
I need help. Streamer, can you help me?
What do you need help with? You need to know how to AFK your liberators into mineral lines.
Yeah. Dude, I suck. Can you help me?
Yeah,
Please?
well,
I'm
I
begging you.
saw your performance against Epic like that. I can tell you need help.
Oh,
Oof.
Jesus.
Oof. All right, guys. Thank you so much for hanging out. I do appreciate your time. Again, I'm having as much fun. I hope you guys are having fun too. So,
heck yeah.
Absolutely.
all right.
I was until you hurt me.
Yeah, I'm glad. Okay. I bought another
Oh.
case of monsters, by the way. I ran out.
The white one?
Yeah.
Pogs, dude.
Did you like
Did
the
see my
white one?
picture?
Yeah. Did you like it?
Yeah, it's good, dude.
Yeah, it's good. So Starfox, I'll see you tomorrow. Canuck, I guess I'll see you if you're available.
Yeah.
But yeah, did you want to focus on a specific matchup tomorrow, Starfox, or do you just want to kind of generally go over your replays? Is that tempting?
Let's see. Well, my big struggle is PVT right now, even though it's not supposed to be.
Oh, you both have that. Excellent. We can talk about PvT.
Yeah. So.
Okay, so I know you sent me a lot. Let me see.
Yeah, I did. You don't have to look through all of it, but.
Did you send me any PvTs? Oh, you sent me a couple. I'll look at specifically at the PvTs. We can go over those, and then we can go ahead and practice some PvT. That sounds like a good idea.
Okay.
Cool.
Sounds good.
Vindicta